Welcome everyone to another episode of Planet Coaster 2. Today we are building a Blizzard Beach, but we are not doing a one-by-one recreation. We are going to do a Sicilian version of it. In case you have been following around my channel, you know that I have been doing Zoo Sicily, and the little idea I have over here is that this is a partnered park close by, which is a water park, to complement the zoo area and maybe a future theme park area. In case you don't know me, I'm Rudy Rancamel. I've been playing this game for ages, like not this particular game, but like Planet Coaster or the Planet series. So yeah, hopefully you'll find some inspiration in this video, you'll find some ideas for your own build, and you're just going to get yourself a opinion of the game if you want to get this next week or not. So in this video I'm going to focus on this build and what we are doing and what I experienced, because we did this during a live stream. Many people have been in this live stream, so thank you so much for being there, for subscribing to the channel, for becoming member and so on. For those of you who don't know, members will receive a special trait in my main series, which is the other video I've released yesterday, the Hanseatic Dreamland. In case you haven't seen that one, make sure to watch it after this one. It's also a very fun project, but I don't want to spoil too much. And yeah, so let's get into it. And before we get into it, if you haven't subscribed yet, do so before you forget it. But now let's talk about this. So Blizzard Beach, in case you don't know, is a water park in Disneyland Orlando, Florida. So the theme of it is obviously a Blizzard Beach, meaning a snowy beach area. It's one of my favorite water parks I've ever been to. I was lucky enough to be to Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach. Typhoon Lagoon actually, in my opinion, is a little bit better, but it was too obvious for me to go for a very tropical style, so I tried to do something else, and then I was surprised very badly that we don't have snow in this game, which just hit me hard. And I'm just hoping that in a few weeks time, maybe around Christmas, the typical DLC/update will potentially bring us snow. Speaking about this build over here, this mountain is just temporary. It's way too big. We are going to scrape this down later in today's episode, but I just noticed how I'm lost on words. How easy and great it was to build pathing through this mountain. I have no words for it. It feels really like a completely different game. It's by any means this would have been possible in Planet Coaster 1 or Planet Zoo this way, unless you play with free build. But it's really damn impressive how the path system now works also with terrain. You can just go and smooth out terrain around the pathing, and it just does it. You can even delete terrain under the path if it's already done, or you can just put in new one, and it's just so good, and it's everything we wished for, and I am very happy that Frontier did this. In case you're wondering what the hell is this guy doing over here, what a mess. Yes, it is, and we are going to get rid of this mess. We've done this on live stream, and if anything, I must admit that I'm really not back to grips with this game when it comes to muscle memory and knowing all the techniques and pieces. This is also the reason why you haven't seen any kind of tutorials yet. I'm still not able to do tutorials because I feel myself not really strong enough and confident enough to do it. I'm very close to it, a couple more sessions and I'll be able to record this big tutorial for you guys. As always, you can already put it in your calendars. There will be a lot of tutorials coming 2, 3, 4 weeks, including a big one for those of you who love to do this in ones. If you know my channel, you always know what this is going to be. Now, back to Blizzard Beach. The theme park is themed around a main ski jumping hill in the center of the park, and this is the same thing we're doing over here. This is the ski jumping tower over here. Me, myself, I'm a huge skiing nerd. I love alpine skiing. I love ski jumping, to watch it at least. Never tried it myself, and potentially nowadays be too fearful. But I've been on one of the biggest ski jumping hills in the world, which is in Oberstdorf, and the so-called Heini-Klopfer Skisprungschanze, for those of you who know. This is a huge one. You can fly up to over 230 meters, I think it's the record on this, or even 240. I don't know what's the record in Oberstdorf right now, but I know that the record overall is like 255 or something in Planitza. Or is it in Planitza actually, or Zakopane? I don't know which one is the one they have the record at the moment. And I'm not speaking about this one that Red Bull did with like 290 meters or so. That was a staged one. I think the official record on a official kind of cup jumping hill should be 255 or something. Anyways, I'm a big fan, so this is a very fitting theme for me. And we built this tower over here, and the style I was going for is obviously Alpine. This tower itself isn't really the biggest reminiscence of it. It's just like a wooden tower, I guess. And again, as I said, still need to figure out which pieces are most suitable for it. There are some very good roofs that you can use for everything, and I just felt like, okay, it's not good enough by only having this tower, so I wanted to have like a separate building to the side that just gives us a bit more of these vibes, you know. There still are a little finicky things with the colors, so sometimes the color just jumps to be back to the original color, which is an easy fix by just multi-selecting the pieces and give it the recent color. I'm very happy that the recent color option in this game still works very fine. It makes a lot of sense to have a good palette of colors you are constantly using, because then you can easily switch between them. The lack of glass is still an issue, but in an Alpine build like this, not so much, because most of the buildings will be facades anyways, and as it is a water park, we will though have one kiddie coaster at least in here, because I feel like this makes sense, and maybe even the slide. Just want to make this more of a family theme park in general, which I guess is going to be great. I'm also not going to make like mega many episodes, not going to be like a huge series, maybe like 5 to 8 episodes, and then I'm going to give this to you guys in the workshop. This is the plan, so I'm trying to not go too crazy on pieces. Speaking of, this is also going to be turned into a tutorial, but this is a lovely technique to build something mirrored if you want to. So if you use one of these attachment points on these robo arms that you will find under gears now, you can use this and just build a mirrored element wherever you want. You just need to ensure that you deactivate the robo arm, so it's not gonna do any movement. And as soon as you did this, you can see I'm just like easily covering here the slide to make it look like the ski jumping hill, and then also to build the jumping table where the ski jumpers go off. You can just easily do so, and by just using the mirror technique, you don't need to focus on two sides, or like you don't need to worry if the gizmo is breaking down or anything, because the mirror tool just makes it perfectly fine for you. And you'll see that in a second. The hill looks really cool. I was using these wood things for it because I just thought it gives a bit more texture from the distance. Like if I would have used like typical plastic or modern stuff, it just kind of looks too clean from the distance. It just doesn't have any detail, and I just wanted to have this kind of more rustic feel, as if this is like an old ski jumping hill, you know, something like this. I guess was going to be a bit more nice anyway. So yeah, and once I was ready with making sure that the ski jumping hill is fine, I also put in some fake snow, or like at least not fake snow, but like fake rail where they would jump from. This is like where they would basically go and then jump from down into the valley, which is going to receive a hill itself as well. You'll see that in the real-time part at the end. I don't have the footage included, just to make sure I don't have too much footage. Again, it was an over 5-hour stream. I did cut out a lot now. For those of you who have been in the stream will potentially ask, what the heck are you looking at? When did we even do this? And most of it isn't even done in stream. I've done this after the stream a little bit, but I figured that it was a good starting point. Like, this is still stuff we did during the stream. We have this lazy river over there. The lazy river didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. You still need to figure out a couple of things, how exactly they work, but I still am very happy that I'm finally building a water park here. As I said earlier, I thought I wasn't going to be so hyped about this, but now having this and having the chance to do this is so cool, and I'm really looking forward to this build, like making sure that we have this Alpine theme going through, and making sure it all looks good. I feel like this is a good way of doing it. These pools, as you can see, are also just placeholders. We're going to make some really cool stuff, some really cool Alpine lake stuff. I did also see ZSH Plays making a series like that. I was really interested to see how he pulled that off. A really cool lagoon he was building there. Mega build, in case you're watching, mate. Looks really cool, and I'm planning something similar in terms of making it look natural, even though I want to make it functional as well, and just I will go into the struggle. I will lean in to the struggle of making that work. So you can see here I'm trying to build one of these entrance buildings as an Alpine style build. It wasn't as easy as I thought at the beginning, because the pieces, as I already said in my other video, they are very great. They are super amazing. However, and this is the one thing that always is a little bit of an issue, if you attach them like this, the buildings obviously tend to look like a Viking build because the pieces are intended to look like. So as great as they are, you need to actually do a little trick here and there to assure that you use architectural styles specifically of the Alpine area to make it look like an Alpine build rather than a Viking build, because a lot of these elements are shared. You know, it's a timber build, it uses a lot of wood, it has some other stone materials in it, so at the first glance there was a lot of similarity in it, but I think the more I went into the build and changed a couple things to make it look like a really proper timber building here, it just worked out, making sure to have some plants in front of some windows and so on, just really giving it that Alpine vibe, you know. Worked out pretty nicely. I also added some tiny details later on that really made a difference to really ensure it doesn't look Viking, but looked really much more Alpine, southern Germany, Bavarian style. You know, that's the one I'm going for. And the more I tried these little elements, it just really paid off. And you can achieve mostly any style you want with this game. You can also do some really crazy sci-fi stuff that you're going to see somewhere next or even the week after, because I'm building at something very, very cool sci-fi themed, but it takes time, and it's gonna be great, but it's taking a lot of time. So yeah, as you can tell, this build over here, and if you have been in the stream, I repeat myself, but you know how long it did take until I was even building. This building over here has been done in the last half hour, while everything else has been in the 5-ish previous hours or so. Yeah, then I wanted to have like a little tower to complement this building, to have like a little bit of an entrance here, and you'll see that turning out a lot better than I expected. Because of the scaling now, you can make roofs and so on way more nicer than I thought you could, and the roof over here turns out pretty nice. It could have been nicer, I guess, if I was searching for some more pieces. There are smaller pieces in game that you can flexi-color, but I was happy with the looks of it, so I went for this. It's not as clean as it could be because I didn't use the correct technique for the sides, but you know what, at this point I was very happy with how this looked, and I just kind of liked the look. The imperfect look of the roof was something I liked because it had this roughness to it. It's very hard to describe, you'll see that once it's done. It just gives it so much depth, and it still looks clean enough to pass the, you know, vision I have, and make sure that it does stand down to what I want it to look like. And yeah, this is, as I said over here, the easy scaling just makes buildings so nice. You can just easily click things in. I tried to put like a smaller one in, but I wasn't too happy about this, and then I decided to just kind of build something a little bit more off here, but then it also looked very good at the end. I used these pieces to clean up the mess on the sides, and we are obviously, like, there are some very cool roof tiles, like terracotta roof tiles in, but you can't, and this is a bit of an issue, you can't really use them because they're gridded pieces, which is a shame. I really wished they would have given us a non-grid version of it, but here you can see the full version of it, and I also needed to do some details to the top of it. Really big fan how that turned out. It just gives the whole build a bit of a nicer feel. I used this trident over here to mimic a little bit of a more classic kind of metal roof. How's that called? Detail? Or it's gable is something else, but I just forgot how this thing in the middle is called. Like, this is like an ornament, but it's definitely not called ornament. I forgot what the wording for it is. Anyways, this metal type of that you can find mostly on these type of towers in an Alpine area. Now, as I said, I'm very happy with how this turned out. I put a little window over here, and this is also using a bit of an old technique to just make one side and then copy it around with some gridded pieces to make your life easier. And then I figured I also needed like a little bit of an entrance into the tower. In my opinion, this could actually be very nicely you know, a backstage area for some pipe work or some pumps or so that can be easily checked from within the tower, so the guests don't see it, but you have an attachment point over here. So I may very well put actually something like that in here to give it the idea. But yeah, putting like a little star in just as a small little detail. But again, as I said, I'm very happy with how that turned out. The amount of stuff been done in first episode isn't as much as I wished it was, but honestly, I thought I'm gonna leave it as is, simply to show you guys this is the truth of the game as well. Like, at the beginning of a game, it always takes time until your muscle memory kicks in again and you learn how to do things. As you can see in this footage, I misclicked 3 or 4 times until I figured I need to click again to form the group, and I was always confused why it didn't do it. So I forgot about this extra click. So I just need to get used to it, okay? And as soon as I'm used to it, this works. Also making sure we have like a bit of a fake skiing equipment over here. As much as I love the scaling, we are still in for way too big pieces. We have to work around this. And now with the scaling, it's not that much of an issue. But I even scaled the group later on to make it even smaller than this, to fit the size of the peeps a bit more better. But it worked out nice, and it does sell the idea, okay? I could make these skis look a lot more nicer, but for the sake of a water park, they are non-functioning elements anyways. And at some point, I just leaned into my good old snow technique by using the arch shapes. Like, I tried so many different pieces, but none of these really worked out the way I wanted them to. So here we are using the arch shapes again. And the last bit I'm doing is just a bit of framing, just getting that one shot right to sell the idea of the park. And the future episodes will hold a lot more to look at, and a lot more nice things that we are going to finish. I think the next episode will be about one wave pool and some buildings in the background, and then the third episode will focus on the kids area. I'm really curious to see what you guys will say about this, so make sure to jump into the comments and give me some ideas. This is, by the way, some stands. I still need to put some stairs up there and some security railing, but just for giving the idea of having some stands. And then we put also the little grass in as like the height markers, usual to these ski jumping areas. And last but not least, we also needed a sign with the name of our park. So that's been said. I really hope you enjoyed these speed builds so far. I'll give you into the capable hands of the real-time Rudy, and we are going to have a look at how this park looks as of now. Again, the next episode will be a bit more detailing around the pools and so on, but I'm really happy with how it turned out after all the struggle at the beginning, and how beautiful this game can look once you're done. So jump over in the real-time part and have fun. Right, so here we are in the file, and as already said in the time-lapse, it's not much that you're looking at, considering how long the stream was and so on. But there is definitely a lot to see and to feel where this is going in the future. So we have this brand new tower, which I'm very happy with. This one I think looks very cool. It's kind of the introduction tower, so to say, the Blizzard Beach tower, and then we have our information booth building where you can grab all the stuff. The interior isn't fully done yet. As you can see, you can still peek through the building. That will be fixed eventually. And then if you look closely, there is the ski jump arena in the background, and I find this very cool because you can really tell this looks really awesome, but you can't tell that they're coming down. So for the perspective, this is now the version I'm very happy with. Like, this is really selling the idea nicely, I guess. If you look at this from this angle, really big fan of how that turned out. Potentially we would need some more kind of snow on the mountains, which we'll do with, I guess what I did last is the best thing to do, to use the art shapes for that. But yeah, I'm really happy with how that turned out. But frankly, there isn't really that much more, and this is why I'm just jumping out in the other camera, so you guys can see this beautiful park from above. Now, I'm very happy with the layout now. We will put like our little lazy river here to the right hand side, and we're going to build some resort houses in this center area here, so that the mountain looks a lot more as an alpine village. And then we're going to kind of do our own version of Blizzard Beach. I'm very happy with how that turned out. Also, I'm very confused. Is this not opened? Oops, there you go. Oh, it's not. Let's test this first of all, so that maybe people will go uphill. It's so cool. My brain just also for a split second thought that's gonna jump over here. So we're going to quickly let this test and open it, and hopefully see some people emerge to the top of the mountain, and then we'll be able to have a little on-ride with this thing. Look at how everyone is like swimming in here like this. I mean, I put a lazy river jets in here, but it seems really like not that many people are using it. I really don't know what exactly is going on. Right, I made it work. There were a couple of little things missing, so I did also slap some snow on the mountain to see if it works, and apparently it does work. I think I want to even have more of that, so let's see if we can just get that dude over here. And let's jump in, and oops, nope, cancel, don't close the ride, and go into the ride camera, and then we're gonna have a little bit of a fun ride down the hill here. So we can, look at that, damn, into this cheap jumping thingy, and then out we go. And bam, down here in the area we are back again. Really, I'm a big fan of this. This looks really cool and looks very promising from over here. Very scary. And then down we go with this person who virtually doesn't really bend a single bone. But yeah, so this is that. I really am a big fan of it. We are going to theme this area here a little bit more, so it's not going to look this way for the whole time. But yeah, I think this is a very good time to end this little overview already, because there's not really that much, and I have talked already a lot in the time lapse. Really big fan of this little skiing rack over here, by the way. But other than that, there is still a bit of work to do, which we are going to do over the next weeks. Very curious to see what you guys think of it. I may actually change the plaza here in front and the road. I had some bigger plans, as you know, and needed to scrape them down because I went a little bit overboard. But I think this is a way more sizable park size and layout, and we're gonna work with it, gonna do some cool stuff, some more slides and so on in here, so it's going to look very nice eventually. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, and if you want to see more Planet Coaster 2 content, Planet Zoo and so on and so forth, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and yeah, I'm gonna talk to you in the next one.